once again, Florida, and welcome to Let's Talk Safe Money with Len Strickler. He's one of the co-founders of LSF Capital. I am your host, Spike Spangle, and every single week we try to help you with retirement planning solutions. Mr. Len Strickler.
How you doing,
How you doing,
Spike?
buddy?
Doing great, doing great.
To see you.
Love working with you, man. We've been doing this quite a while, haven't we?
Man, we do from radio to the TV, and you and Art doing live events all around the South Florida area. So thank you so much for bringing all of this live education to folks. What we're going to be talking about today on the program are changes in personal finance that we see going on. Lots of different stories that you might be seeing or hearing across the news airwaves and on all of your apps and all those little blips and bings that go off on our phones. And I want to ask you today, what do they mean to us? Yeah. What do we need to do? And do we need to change any of our strategies? So if you don't mind, I want to dig right into it.
Sure.
According to LIMRA, you and I have talked about this on radio, the Life Insurance Reporting Marketing Agency, second year in a row of record-breaking sales in annuities, over $360 billion last year.
Unbelievable, huh?
$311 billion the year before.
Absolutely.
Len, what is going on? Is this a good thing? So many Americans loading their money into annuities today?
Well, it is, because here's the thing, Spike. Annuities today are totally different, okay? In the last 4 or 5 years, they've totally changed. You know, it used to be with annuities, it was based on the S&P, right? And they usually had a cap on them, so it's 4 or 5%. If, you know, anything over that, the company kept, right? And anything that, you know, at that cap or below, you got, right? But today, you know, they have changed that now, right? And there's many indexes that you can choose from. And it's based on participation rate. So whatever that index does, right, either year to year or, you know, point to point, year to year, or every 2 years, then you're going to get to you know, get involved with that. So if they've got a 100%, you know, participation rate, you're going to get 100% of whatever that index has done. So it's a much different, you know, tool and vehicle today than it was back then.
It's not your grandparents' annuity.
That's right. It used to be that Oldsmobile, of course, not your grandfather's Oldsmobile or something like that.
But do you also think this is in reaction to the volatility of the markets, or is this possibility because we're seeing, as we know right now, we call this a kind of a peak 65 era right now, where more people are turning 65 every single day in America than ever before. Is this because so many baby boomers are going into retirement and they say, well, look, I don't have a pension like my grandparents said. I've got to turn something into a pension.
Absolutely. That's another great point. You know, the other thing is that, you know, you can't lose money. You're not going to lose your principal, right? And a big thing for these retirees is they're realizing, you know, they went through either the tech bubble crash or they went through 2008, and they do not want to lose money. And they realize we cannot lose money in retirement. It'll literally wipe you out. And so with these annuities, right, again, you're not going to lose your principal. You're going to get some decent upside to where, you know, you're going to be able to participate in that upside, right? And there's income. There's some of them that are designed with guaranteed lifetime income. So if you live to 120, you're going to get that same income just like you did with a pension. So today what we're doing is we're helping folks create their own pension and take responsibility for that, because you're absolutely right. The pensions, some of them, a lot of them today are, you know, getting cut. There's
There's worries in some states. I've heard about the state of Illinois being both underfunded and underperformed last year. So we have to worry about some of the Florida state pensions as well. This is something we want to review. Sticking on annuities, though, right now, about almost $10 billion went into what's called single premium annuities, about $39 billion into variable annuities, $71 billion into indexed annuities. Now, these are different kinds. These are different styles. Do you have a preference between these?
A good question. You know, one of the things you want to make sure you get the right design. You know, I have folks tell me, oh, Len, annuity, they hear the A word. You know, you've done that before on the show. And but a lot of people think annuities have gotten a bad rap. And the reason they have, Spike, is because of variable annuities. Variable annuities put you right back in the market. Okay, so they're different designs. You know, I'll have people, you know, I don't want annuities. I'll be talking to them on the phone, you know, and I'll say, well, sir, let me ask you a question. Do you get Social Security? Well, yes, sir, I do. Great. I want you to call up Social Security tomorrow and tell them to stop sending those checks, because it's nothing more than an annuity. That's what it is. If you were to win the lottery, right, it would be an annuity. That's what it is, folks. They've been around forever, for a long, I mean, the Babe. Come on, you all remember Babe Ruth? What was it? What they call him? The
Bambino.
Bambino. I mean, he literally had one of his buddies in the league, got out of the league, went into the insurance business, right? Ended up selling the Babe, I don't know, 3 or 4 annuities. Guaranteed lifetime income type annuities, man. And, you know, the Babe was, you know, through the 20s, 1929, it was bad, right?
Yeah.
Got the Babe, man. He was out there.
I read that recently, too, that he was taking home $300,000 a year, which would have been the equivalent today of like $30 million a year.
Amazing.
And this was something he learned a long time ago. So the annuity, the A word itself, is not something to be concerned about.
No.
But what type you have, and is it appropriate for? So how do you help people figure out what is the right kind for them? Or if there is a right kind.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've got to meet with folks. Obviously, need to come in. We need to meet with you, and you kind of understand what your goals are. But again, Art and I, my partner Art, we call him the financial master chef. He'll be joining us here in a little bit. But we don't do variable annuities because in variable annuities, again, you're back in the market. There's a lot of fees inside these things. We had a gentleman come in not too long ago, and Art went through his variable annuity, and unbelievable. There was like 4%. Okay, fees inside there. Because not only is there fees for managing it or whatever, but if they have mutual funds, each one of those mutual funds can have up fees as well. And a lot of times these folks, these advisors will churn them, right? And every time they move them, they get paid another commission. That's not the game we play. That's not what Art and I do. But this one gentleman, Art found out 4%. Now, 4%, folks, will really knock a lot of your money down. I mean, it maybe knock 6 to 7, maybe 8 years off of your retirement. And what's the number one thing, Spike, that are on retirees' minds? Will my money go the distance? So we can help you with guaranteed lifetime income annuities. You're not going to lose that principal, and you're going to get some nice upside. That's why they've gotten so popular, especially the fixed index annuities. Now, the fixed annuities, they've also gotten very popular, Spike, again, because when the Fed raises rates, which they're trying to get, you know, the inflation down, they've raised those rates. Those fixed annuities, man, they were going up nice, way better than the CD. And so we had a lot of people in the last year or so come in and really want to put a portion of their money in a fixed annuity.
Right. But the conversation now is moving to, will interest rates come down? Will they continue to come down?
Yeah.
Right now they're holding steady. So this might be that window of opportunity to take a look at your older annuities,
Absolutely.
2 or 3 or 4 years old,
Right.
to make sure you're using the proper one, which is exactly why I want to tell our viewers to use the income analyzer. For our viewers out there, if you call the phone number on the screen, we will set you up with the income analyzer. There's no cost. There's no obligation to it. We literally have operators standing by right now. You can call the phone number, just set up an appointment. No cost, no obligation to you. We'll take a look at the annuities that you might be using or you might be thinking about using and make sure that they're appropriate for you. More Let's Talk Safe Money with Len Stricker of LSF Capital when we get back right after this.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Safe Money with Len Strickler of LSF Capital right here in South Florida. I'm your host, Mike Spangle. You know, Len, we're talking about the income analyzer right before the break.
Right.
But another thing that I do want to tell folks about, because I know that you're very excited about it yourself, Way of the Financial Warrior. You can get a complimentary copy of the book when you schedule an appointment with Len and the team. Tell us a little bit about the origins on your book.
Well, you know, Spike, in there I tell the story, and a lot of folks have told me they've really enjoyed the book. I kind of tried to take the concepts that I learned in the martial arts, right? Fighting my way out of the streets in the projects of Philly. I'm the oldest of 8. My grandmother raised us. Came up pretty tough. And I had to get involved in a martial arts so I could get out of there alive. Literally, it was pretty bad. And but I did, and I really, really enjoyed it. I love the martial arts. It did so much for me around discipline, focus. You know, there's just a lot of things, and you know, those things are needed in the financial world, right? I talk a little bit in the book about, you know, joint manipulation, right, and how does that apply to the financial world, right? Well, in joint manipulation, we can't get, you know, manipulated with these fees.
I was going to say, I feel joint manipulated by Wall Street all of the time.
That's right.
So the defensive moves, but a defense can be just as much offense,
Absolutely.
Especially when it comes to your money
Right.
and your retirement. So folks, you can get a complimentary copy of Len's book when you schedule an appointment. Come on in. There's no cost. There's no obligation for an appointment. We'll run your income analyzer. We'll run your tax analysis as well. But get a copy of the book. Len will probably do a couple of high kicks for you as well. Make sure you stretch out the hamstrings beforehand. Okay, Len. We're talking about some of the things that are happening different today in personal finance. And one of the other stories that's come out this year is older workers are working longer and deeper into retirement. They're earning higher wages than ever before. In fact, 1 in 5 Americans age 65, nearly 20% are employed here this year in 2024 and going into 2025. This is a lot more. It was about 7% of those age 65 30 years ago were in the workforce. Why do you think so many older Americans are working today?
Well, I mean,
because they want to or have to?
Well, no, in probably a little bit of both cases, depending on the situation. You know, look at my partner Art and I. I mean, you know, we're not spring chickens anymore, right? but you know what? We love what we do, right? It's not like we're out there, you know, busting rocks or doing manufacturing work in the you know days, you know, 30 years ago.
Labor and work is different today,
right?
Yeah.
You know, but not only that, we enjoy what we're doing. We like helping people, and we enjoy it. There are a lot of folks that I think are in a similar situation. You know, they realize that, hey, I enjoyed, you know, many of these companies bring them back in as consultants. Right. And so because they know, remember, these younger folks, it's just a little different these days. OK,
it's hard to find the younger workers out there right now.
It is. And not only that, but the older workers, they're experienced. You know, typically they're very dependable. They know the company in a lot of cases. All right. So they don't have to retrain them. So it's a win-win. So, we have a lot of folks that are, you know, coming, staying in the workforce. There's other folks that unfortunately have to stay in the workforce, and they're the folks we want to help too, because you may be in retirement longer than you were in the workforce originally. I mean,
it's amazing.
Why?
It's amazing
why?
today.
Because people are living longer today, right? They're living up into their hundreds. I mean,
what did you say?
My new wife, Carolina, right? Her mother just 2 weeks ago, 100 years old. Her birthday, 100 years, and she's still getting around. She still goes shopping with Carolina. I mean, it's like, are you kidding? But that's going to happen a whole lot more and more with these medical advances.
That's happening as well. So not only more older workers in the workforce, we are seeing more centurions today in America, folks turning 100 years old.
Yep.
We need to make sure we've got the income for that.
That's correct.
Now, I wanted to ask you about this, though, because this is very popular in the United States, very popular in Florida, the passive income of real estate. They say, well, wait a minute, I don't have to worry about working. I've got this passive income coming in from real estate. Is there work involved with that passive income?
Well, I mean, you know, think about it. I mean, that is true. There's a lot of folks, matter of fact, I myself, after I had a windfall in Silicon Valley, I did a turnaround company. I was part of an executive team, did fairly well, brought it to Florida in 2008, I had set up a real estate investment firm and a mortgage company.
What a wonderful year to set up a real estate and
well, I
mortgage
actually
company.
set it up before that, and it was great. It was doing really well, and then all of a sudden, it wasn't.
Yeah.
So, but no, we were in real estate, and real estate's a big thing. You're right, down in the area, in our area in Florida. But we had a client come in not too long ago. It was interesting, Tony, and he had a number of duplexes. And he just said, you know, I'm getting tired of this. I mean, you know, the toilet breaks, right? You got to go fix the toilet, you know, or hire somebody to do it. What he ended up finding out was the income, the duplex he put, you know, at $500K, he sold it. And then what he did was he put it into a fixed index annuity where he was getting guaranteed lifetime income, and that income was more than what he was getting off of that duplex.
Without having to take any 3 a.m. phone calls and
absolutely
making repairs.
As a matter of fact, he's coming in to meet with Art. He's really good friends with Art, the financial master chef. He's real good.
Yeah, every
friends.
time you said the master chef, I was afraid
you
people were
did.
waiting for the cooking segment of the show. I'm like, no, you're our financial master chef.
Yeah, you'd always correct me. But no, he's coming back in to put another 500, and he sold another. He had a number of them, and he loves this concept. So, you know, there's another way to go.
But speaking of not necessarily wanting to work forever, but continuing to have an income stream, passing on what you know. Let's talk a little bit. We're going to bring this out over the next few weeks and kind of explain LSF Capital and what this means. You're also bringing in folks into the organization.
Yeah, right.
You're growing it. You're growing your offerings as well. You and Art aren't going anywhere, but you have more teammates as well.
That's correct. Yeah, Art and I realized that we wanted to bring in, you know, some younger folks. Also, we've transitioned, if you will, from LS Financial Group, which most folks, you know, they've known us that with working with you in here on TV and radio for the last probably 3 years. We've now kind of rebranded the company to call LSF Capital. And the reason for that is like you said, we've hired some younger folks now that can do the registered investment advisors, right? So we can now manage money. But again, we want to do that don't forget what's on the TV screen. Let's talk safe money. Right.
So we've got the managed investments, which let's talk openly about this. This is usually when people are hitting retirement. We've got a 401k. So we might want to keep some of that in the markets, but some of it then that we can put into a vehicle that can protect it from the markets while putting together an income stream.
Yep.
And so now you're able to do this. Now, I would probably say that we would either want this either in a written document, written form. Is this also part of the growing
absolutely.
process?
Yeah, I mean, we do a complete plan, right? One of the things we want to do now is, and we can do that with this new, you know, rebranding, if you will, of the company, but we can now provide a holistic plan for our clients, which we had a lot of our clients ask, you know, they wanted that. They wanted to know, well, guys, you know, I really love what you do with the annuities. It's great, but what about this other money I've got here, right? They wanted to have a one-stop shop kind of an experience. And so that now allows us to do that. And the younger guys, they've got their licenses. One's, you know, going after a CFP, the other's Series 6, you know, all the stuff that, you know, I'm not going to sit for those licenses now. The brain just can't. So what am I going to do? I'm going to hire, right? And they're sharp young men too, very sharp.
I was just listening to the great director Quentin Tarantino, and he said the same thing. He's like, look, I am not a set designer. I am not a lighting designer. As the director, I need to know all of the parts and pieces that I need to have, and let my professionals do what they do. And that's what you're doing at LSF Capital, hiring the professionals to let your team grow and expand.
Right.
I'm going to take a very short break here. We're going to continue with your message here. Folks, don't go anywhere. What we want to do is get you your own written financial plan. When you call the phone number right here, we'll get you started on that. There's no cost to it. There's no obligation to it. But it will include your investments, taxes, discussions on estate planning, your health care, how and when to take your Social Security if you haven't turned it on yet. And it will be a printed, written financial plan for you. For our viewers, there's absolutely no cost to that. Just call the phone number you see right here. More Let's Talk Safe Money with Len Strickler right after this.
When was the last time you saw your financial professional? Are you getting the most out of the strategy that was created for you? Although you've done a great job finding someone to help plan for your future, are you 100% sure that you were given the right strategy? We can help answer these questions and more with a complimentary second opinion evaluation. We will take a look at what you have in place and then help determine if you're well positioned to get the most out of your future retirement income. In the event that it is not, we can help by making suggestions and showing you how to get on the right path. You wouldn't get just one opinion when it comes to a major health decision, so why would you treat your most important financial decision with such disregard? Call today for your no-cost, no-obligation second opinion evaluation to see if you're getting the most out of your retirement income plan.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Safe Money with Len Strickler of LSF Capital right here in South Florida. I'm your host, Spike Spang. We're talking about changes today in personal finance, especially in this year. There's always changes that are happening right now. In fact, there's a new phrase. Maybe you started to hear it yourself. They're called Henrys.
Henrys, okay.
High earners, not yet feeling rich.
There you go.
Now, would I not have a lot of sympathy for them? But here's the thing, Len. It seems like the world has gotten really expensive and stayed really expensive. We've been talking about inflation for a couple of years now on all of our programs. And that target number of $1 million just doesn't seem as big or as comfortable as it used to be. Is $1 million that number we're looking for, Len, when it comes to retirement?
You know, we don't really look at it that way. You know, we want to take into account your whole plan. I mean, putting a number out there, it depends on the individual. It depends on, you know, what you want out of retirement. I mean, some folk, maybe it is enough, you know. But $1 million today, Spike, with inflation and things, I'm not sure that's going very far, okay? So, you know, but the key is we want folks to come in and let us help you. Let us get a plan for you. We can do the income analyzer for you, okay? That's, again, complimentary. Come in, we'll take a look at, you know, what is your goal? We'll take into account taxes, we'll take inflation, and then what we'll do is see if there are any gaps in there, and what is that number? What is it going to take to get you there? I mean, let's face it, you want a plan. Right, and with things changing so dynamically, we even have folks come in now for reviews, our clients, every 6 months, because things are changing so quickly and so fast. You want to make sure you keep up with this.
Yeah, we were talking actually with Art on one of the radio programs. Even insurance has gone up, and we're not just talking health insurance, home insurances, disaster insurance. We're obviously seeing that
especially
here in Florida.
Yeah.
So if those costs were to double or triple on you, do you have enough in the nest egg?
Well, and the other thing too, Spike, you and I have talked about this, many times. But the other thing is healthcare expenses and long-term care. I mean, those things can throw a curveball and take your whole plan right off course, folks. So we need to plan for that. We got to take this thing of longevity off the table and figure out how to handle it. Because the longer you live, the more, every other issue that could be a negative. Right?
Let's
Market
face it,
volatility,
none
inflation.
of us get healthier,
all of it.
Along the way. So I want to press you, though. Is there a number that you're comfortable with when people come in? Is $1 million? Would you rather see $2 million? Would you rather see $3 million?
Yeah, we just don't. It's not one of those things where I'm going to, put a number out there, right? It's just it depends. Depends on each individual. We wanted to be able to come in and we'll do the income analyzer. We'll do a complete full plan for them. But I will tell you this, $1 million doesn't go like it used to. It doesn't go as far as it used to, that's for sure.
Yeah. When people come in, are you surprised? Are they surprised that they're not really aware of what they're spending per month?
Yeah. And the other thing I think, Spike, thinking about this, that really surprised them. We just had a client come in not too long ago and really excited, had a good 401k plan, and it was over $1 million, pretty well over. And he goes, guys, I got this $1.5 million, and I'm just so excited. I want you to help me, plan. And, Art's over there, the financial master chef. I'm talking to the guy doing what I do. I'm always cutting up with people and having fun. But Art's over there, kind of doing this with his iPhone. And finally, Art looks up and he says, sir, I hate to tell you this, but you really don't have $1.5 million. And he goes, yeah, I do. It's right there on my statement. And Art says, well, your partner is taking, I don't have a partner. He said, yeah, you do. It's called the IRS. Now, you've deferred this money right? And you didn't even think about it, sir. You probably just were working along, didn't even think about it. Now all of a sudden, Uncle Sam wants their part. So you only have about maybe 700, 800. I mean,
yeah.
People do, to answer your question, Spike, people don't realize it. They don't realize what really is happening with the taxes that can be involved here. It can be very significant.
And that's part of what we want to say, especially to our viewing audience out there. If you are still working right now, if you're in your 60s, especially here in Florida, we realize how much costs have been going up. So get that income analysis, get that actual written financial plan.
Right.
We don't want to wait until 6 months, 12 months right before retirement. I mean, if you're working right now and you have a high salary, and if you're wondering, is this still going to be enough? You don't have to guess. We can start putting this into the software right now and start designing that income stream, right?
Absolutely. When folks come in and meet with us, by the way, it's complimentary. Art and I do not charge for the income analyzer or a full plan. We don't charge for it. We just feel like we want to help folks, and if we do the right thing, do our job right, then we're going to be rewarded. Now,
you also said, especially with a written financial plan, you've been asking people to come in or at least reach out every 6 months.
Right.
Because of how quickly things are changing right now.
Absolutely.
Especially with inflation, insurance costs, our healthcare costs.
Right.
So at least you've got you as that partner, not the IRS partner.
That's right.
You as that partner helping them
out. Yeah, for sure.
So you've got the whole team making appointments and so forth.
Yeah, we do. Absolutely.
So tell us just a little bit, in your words, what exactly is that written financial plan all about?
Well, again, it's taking in a holistic approach, right? We want to know, in the first meeting when folks come in, we really want to get to know you. I want to know, not just run a bunch of numbers, folks, but we want to get to know, who you are, maybe your children, are they in college? Where are they? Do we need to make some, plans for that? Do we need to, look at younger children that maybe you want a college fund for? We just want to get to know you. What do you want your money to do? What's the purpose of your money? Those are all the questions that we ask. So it's more of a friendly kind of a thing when you first come in. There's no pressure. And then from there, we'll go ahead and put that plan together for you. Len
Strickler, thank you so very much. Folks, you can get your own complimentary copy of Way of the Financial Warrior by calling the phone number right here. When you make an appointment, we'll put together your own written financial plan. But you need to reach out to us here, 844-299-0355. From the radio station to the TV station, I always thank Len Strickler for joining us here on Let's Talk Safe Money. Get your own complimentary written financial plan. Call the phone number. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week.